I think I'm unforgiven to this world. Today, on my own podcast, we break down Unforgiven. Hello, my friend. We meet again. Welcome to my own podcast, the only Creed podcast that we know of. My name is Andrew Colin, and with me, as always, is my co-host, my buddy, my captain, Reid Fenlaw. Hi, Reid. What's up? You're either a growling dog or a motorbike engine. Dog.
Yeah, dog. You got it. What's up, dog?
Oh, nice. Not much, man. Just, yeah.
Yeah, I like your shirt.
Oh, thank you.
For those listening, Andrew's wearing a shirt repping the name of our improv group.
Our world famous improv group, selling out crowds of 15 people.
We're the only improv group in LA that we know of.
Oh, yep. That applies there too.
Stick with the theme.
Yeah, I really missed that theme there.
How are you doing?
I'm good. We're recording this right before a holiday that celebrates the independence of our nation. And I'm ready to fly on that day. And I'm doing that for the first time. I've never flown on 4th of July, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, thank you for naming it 4th of July versus the long-winded way of saying it. Tomorrow is a holiday celebrating the independence of our nation. It's July 4th.
Yeah, it keeps people guessing. That's what showmanship is all about. You rein people in and you keep them there. You don't just give away all the answers straightforward.
That's fair. You're going to Philadelphia? Yeah.
Going back home.
Oh yeah,
to where it's steamy and sauna-y and the cicadas whistle.
City by the
cheesesteaks glisten.
Yeah. City by the sea.
Yeah.
Yep.
City by the sea, a few hours away. Or an hour and a half away from Jersey. So
you know what I'm doing for the 4th?
I was about to ask you, what are you doing for the 4th, Reid?
I'm staying in LA, man.
You doing anything fun?
Living the dream. Just a little small get together at the house.
Who's coming?
None of your business. Not you.
Well, yeah, I wasn't invited. That's why I decided to leave the state.
A bunch of skeezy people.
That's
cool. A
cool.
bunch of shady individuals.
What are you all going to get together and do?
I don't
watch
know.
Sports? Because there's not really much sports to watch on the 4th of July.
No, I think there's some baseball.
Yeah.
Some pro baseball, probably some soccer.
Some Olympic trials.
You know what? I'm not into the judicial system, so I don't care what the trial's about. I'm not. No.
Fair enough.
I don't want to see the inside of a courtroom again.
Not again.
Hey, are you ready to talk about Unforgiven?
Are we talking about the Creed song Unforgiven or the Metallica song Unforgiven?
Oh, man. Metallica song is a great song.
I really like that song.
I'm going to say, just based on historical data and what this podcast is named, that we should cover the Creed song.
Okay. Let me just say this about the Metallica song.
Go ahead.
Although the Unforgiven is one of my favorite Metallica songs, I actually prefer the Unforgiven 2. And the Unforgiven 3 is also really good.
Well, do you want to talk about all of them?
No.
Which one's your favorite?
I think the Unforgiven 2 rocks, but it doesn't get the love that the first one does because it was the first one.
Yeah.
But they're all great.
Andrew loves sequels.
Sequels are just the original, but better.
Yeah. He loved
Finding Nemo 2.
Yeah. He loved Air Bud 2, which was called World Pup.
No, World Pup was at least like 5 movies in.
Oh, whatever. Well, what was Air Bud 2? Golden Receiver?
No, that was just like the third one.
How do you know?
Because I love those movies.
The Air Bud franchise.
I think the Air Bud franchise was partially the reason that we got a golden retriever when I was a kid. That movie was fucking adorable.
I thought you were going to say you thought the reason you like Air Bud so much, or you credit Air Bud. Damn it.
Try again.
I thought you were going to say that Air Bud inspired you to enroll your dog in sports.
No, there's no way Nugget could play anything that well. My dog now is 20 pounds and about 16 inches off the ground.
Undersized for an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first one, Air Bud movie, was about basketball for sure. And then the second one was either soccer or volleyball or maybe football.
There's a volleyball one? I said World Pup. That's the soccer one.
Yeah,
it's
you're
after
right.
World Cup.
You're right. I don't think we'll look into it. Google it.
I'm going to look it up right
now. We got to
now.
know this.
I'm going to look this up right now.
But the first one with the basketball was the best by far.
So you did like the original.
Oh, yeah.
Aha. I was right. Originally, Airbud Golden Receiver was the second one.
Of course.
There's Airbud Golden Receiver, then World Pup, then seventh inning stretch, seventh inning fetch.
Oh, that's a great pun. How would he play baseball?
It's also confusing because there's a raccoon on the key art of that too.
That's misleading.
Yep. There's Airbud Spikes Back.
That's volleyball?
Yep. There's one just called Air Buddies that doesn't specify a sport. That's just a bunch of dogs.
And they're moving on away from the athletic world.
Dude, they really did. There were 5 sports movies. Then there was Air Buddies, Snow Buddies, Space Buddies, Santa Buddies, Spooky Buddies, Treasure Buddies, and Super Buddies.
We got to have a marathon. That'll be our next podcast. There seems to be enough content for a whole podcast on them.
There are 12 Airbud films.
12 Airbud masterpieces.
I find that incredible.
My favorite, last thing about Airbud, but my favorite idea or concept that came out of the Airbud movies is just the fact that like there may be some player on the team that's just replaced by Buddy.
Yes.
Or the other team just loses to a dog. I made a little skit about that a while ago where like a kid is sad and his dad's like, how'd the game go? And the kid's like, not so good, Dad. I couldn't guard Buddy. So sure, a dog is playing, but think of all the children's hearts you're destroying by letting a golden retriever win.
Yeah, or even letting him on the team. That means there's only a certain number of players that are allowed on each team in these sports. Like if he's taking one of 10 spots on a youth basketball team, what a
so
fucking
messed up.
dick.
Yeah, they're like, he's only going to be alive for so much longer, and this will ruin this kid's self-esteem for life.
It's pretty selfish.
Yeah,
it's also got to be dangerous for a dog to be playing sports with kids.
How are you going to guard a dog?
I don't know.
Exactly.
And you're going to foul him?
I'm not going to foul a dog. I'd feel so bad.
Tackle a dog?
I remember in the movie, Buddy does get injured. And he's like, ah! And then I imagine the kid who fouled him by accident is probably like, I'm such a piece of garbage.
Yeah. Good. This has been a podcast about Airbud.
The only Airbud podcast that we know of. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, how about we get to the song?
Let's go. Let's get into Unforgiven, man.
Let's do it. By Creed.
Which is good because I've never forgiven you for all the things you did to me. All the wrongs you've perpetrated on me.
I took your hat once by accident.
Took my hat. You stole my identity and opened a bunch of credit cards and bought cruises for all of your family.
I never went on them myself, though. So
Nope. So you think that somehow makes you innocent?
Yes, altruistic.
Doesn't. Yeah. And you made me look bad in one of our improv shows.
That's most of them.
Yeah. The guitar goes hard at the beginning of this song. Like rips, which I dig. Also, there's not a lot of facts about this song, so I'm just going to kind of sprinkle them in.
For sure.
As we go. What do you think about that?
I like it.
Sick.
What are your initial thoughts on the song?
Like just overall?
Yeah.
There's parts of it that I really love. Like, I mean, I don't want to give away how many yas I'm going to give it.
I know. You're always worried about giving away the yas.
I can't give away the yas, baby. It's a jam. It's not my favorite on the album, but it's it's cool.
I would say that this one, even though I don't think it's in any way, this isn't a knock on it because I like the song and I think I like it more than other songs, but I still in a way think it's the single most forgettable song on this album.
Okay.
Because even though Pity for a Dime or In America aren't my favorite, such a specific name, Pity for a Dime, you're going to remember that one. And In America is the song that's politically charged, so you're going to remember that one. But then Unforgiven just sort of happens.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't help that there's other songs named Unforgiven.
Oh, yeah, like Metallica.
Yeah. Like Metallica. Mm-hmm. All right. You know what? We're gonna dive I kept up with the prophecy you spoke. I kept up with the message inside. Lost sight of the irony of twisted faith. Lost sight of my soul and its void.
Okay. The packed first set of lyrics. This one makes me think again about the same sort of stuff he's talked about in the previous songs about growing up in the church and like his father being a faithful man and making him be faithful, which is why I like kept up with the prophecy you spoke, kept up with the message inside. It makes me think like, oh, like, yeah, he did all this stuff. And this probably especially in his youth, but he kind of loses sight of it and his soul is just kind of floating in a void. So like, even though he grew up in the faithful in the church, his life has led to a point where he's no longer, even if he is observing his faith, he no longer feels connected to it and he feels lost in that way.
We're pretty aligned on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's talking about the Bible and his frustrations with it, like the words prophecy and message.
Mm-hmm.
And then void, just the definition of void is completely empty.
Right.
So if he's lost sight of his soul and it's void, I think he's saying like, I've struggled with faith and religion so much that I'm just completely lost. Like, and I don't even know if I have a soul anymore. Like,
Right.
just questioning like everything.
The only part of that kind of confuses me a little bit is the irony of twisted faith.
I think he's just being cool.
You can't just resort to saying, I think he's just kind of being cool when you don't know.
I mean, I don't know exactly, because I thought about that line too, actually. It's just hard because I don't know what he means by twisted faith. It's not a common phrase or euphemism.
Yeah.
So you're kind of left to your own device. Like, twisted faith, I think it's just that you're either grappling with what it means or grappling with like how to apply it in your life. And then the irony of that would be that, like, if you are religious, if you're a Christian, especially, the Bible should be this, like, it's a roadmap to live. It's a guide to live. And then, like, how ironic that an all-knowing, all-powerful God couldn't inspire a book that is more clear.
Interesting.
That's all I could come up with on it. But I think he's just being cool.
I wrote down twist of fate. Is he saying something there? Like, in a twist of fate, I'm no longer a faithful man. But I don't really know what the irony means. The irony of twisted faith is like a very confusing phrase.
Yeah.
What's the irony of twisted faith?
It's what I just said.
Well, yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
I think
I nailed it.
harder to decode. Okay, you nailed it.
I know that.
A,
Let's just agree that it's cool.
it's either A, whatever Reid just said, or B, he's trying to be cool.
It's really cool.
Okay,
Really cool.
let's move on to the chorus.
Chorus pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Think I'm unforgiven to this world.
×2.
Yep.
So my sense was that kind of like above, because he's not living the faithful life that he thought he would as a child. He feels like he's done something bad such that he can't be forgiven for his sins, and like the world is like a black, dark place that won't forgive him for what he's done.
You identify with this song a lot, don't you? Because I'll never forgive you.
For the hat thing?
For the hat, mainly the hat thing,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm sorry.
My hair was really messed up.
So was
underneath.
mine.
Get your own hat.
I have some now, but I don't always have one on file like you do. You're a hat guy.
I think you're unforgiven.
Have you always been a hat guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love hats.
I knew a bunch of hat guys in high school, and I was just like never a hat kid.
Yeah. I grew up playing baseball. So hat kid. But I just got a haircut like 2 weeks ago. So I should be showing it.
What happens if you love baseball and you're great at baseball? You have a knack for baseball, but you just don't look good in hats.
You can't play.
Got to find a new sport.
Yeah.
That
You got to
sucks.
join like a men's softball league. Cause I think they wear visors, or you can wear visors. So
Don't
you
get me started on
top of your
visors.
hats
I
uncovered.
have a big problem with visors.
I bet you had one of those visors at one point with the fake dyed blonde hair in it.
No, that
You know
sounds
what I'm
awesome,
talking
though. Yeah. I did have a visor at one point when I was a child. Grow up.
You think visors are for children?
I think they're for children.
I think they're for poker players, football coaches who are having affairs with their not with their wives.
You just threw some serious shade at like Lincoln Riley and Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I think those guys are having affairs.
Fair enough.
And that's it.
I think just grow up, man. Wear a hat. Wear a hat.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I feel that way.
Growing up, yeah, very strongly.
They really bug me.
Air Bud and hats. Andrew's got some opinions on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't forgive you for that. I think you're pretty right. My statement on this was that he thinks he's beyond redemption. The only part of this that's a little confusing was that the phrase "to this world," because in religion, you're not supposed to be concerned with what the world thinks. You're supposed to be with what God thinks, what your deity thinks. So maybe he's saying he's trying to live a godly life, but the world hates him for it.
That kind of goes against the first stanza, though, I feel like.
I know. It's just the way it's phrased. It's like, I would say unforgiven in this world. Unforgiven to this world means he's looking to the world for forgiveness, unless I'm just reading it wrong.
No, I see what you're saying. Like, but I don't think him being like faithful makes him unforgiven in the world. I think if anything, like maybe I see the point where like he doesn't feel like he fits in the world of sinners and assholes.
Okay.
But unforgiven to the world makes me feel like he no longer is like fulfilling his purpose on earth that he was supposed to fulfill.
You know what? You're right. If it said unforgiven by this world, you would definitely be talking about seeking forgiveness by the world. Yeah. But unforgiven to it is just, it's odd.
Yeah.
But I think that the gist of that is he's feels like he's beyond redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Back in. Took a chance at deceiving myself to share in the consequence of lies. Childish with my reasoning and pride, godless to the extent that I died.
I think this is a little bit more tricky, but I said for the first two lines, it feels like he's trying to say, like when he says he's deceiving himself, like maybe he's still trying to convince himself internally that like he is a man of faith. Maybe he's even like attending church again or, doing something else to make him feel connected with his faith. But I think deep down he knows that he's lying to himself and holding himself out to be something he's not. And I think that's what he means by to share in the consequence of lies. Like, yeah, like he knows deep down that saying he's a man of God, he's lying to himself because of what he's been doing. And
so you think he is a man of God, but he's lying to himself by his actions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think he knows that his actions aren't aligning with what he wants. So like to live the life he wants is like kind of a lie to himself.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for the second part where he says childish with my reasoning and pride, I think childish just makes me think like he's being unreasonably optimistic. Like maybe in his head, he like a kid is just like, oh, I'm happy because I ate sprinkles, but like he knows that sprinkles don't make you happy. So even though he's trying to reason with himself in the way a child does by saying like, oh, I went to church, so I'm a man of God. He knows that like that's not enough. You have to live your life as a man of God, not just say I'm a Christian and wear a thing around my neck.
That's how they talk at church, though.
Oh, is it?
They're like, bop, bop, bop.
That's how I talked as a child.
Everybody gather round. I put the cross around your neck, but it was into the story.
Yeah, I know. I've been to church.
Okay, we're in church now. Take me to church.
It's a different band.
Oh yeah, different person. Song.
And then he says, "Godless to the extent that I died," and I just feel like it's saying that the faithful part of him has died.
Okay,
It's a little weird phrasing, but I still feel like it means the faithful portion of him is dead.
That was good. Good.
You likey?
I likey. Yeah. This is a heavy. It's only 4 lines. Mm-hmm. This is heavy to me. I mean, took a chance at deceiving myself is, to me, saying, you know what, I'm so lost, as he established at the end of the first verse. Like, I'm just going to take a stab at doing it on my own. Like, maybe I'm not going to look to the Bible. Maybe I'm not going to look to my parents. Maybe I'm not going to look to
Joel Osteen. But we always look to Joel Osteen. To share in the consequence of lies. Took a chance at deceiving myself to share in the consequence of lies. I think like there are repercussions for living wrong. The consequence of lies in like religious terms is usually like punishment in eternal suffering in hell. Yeah.
Which that's why I think this is
the consequence of
lies. That's why I think this is like heavy. And then we move to childish with my reasoning and pride, godless to the extent that I died. I think the childish, because you kind of interpreted the childish as,
I ate sprinkles, so I'm happy.
Yeah, like a simple and childlike, right?
Right.
I think he's just saying it's like just selfish, like. Children are selfish. Like, if I'm childish with my reasoning and pride, it's like, nope, I'm doing this because I want to.
I'm not showing any sprinkles.
Exactly. More like that.
Gotcha.
Because he's just said, I took a chance at deceiving myself. I'm going to share in the consequence of lies. So to me, that's like a very just, I'm doing this. It's me. I'm childish. I'm selfish.
Interesting. And
then godless to the extent that I died. I think he's saying that if you go that route, it's over.
But what is to the extent that I died?
Dude, he's just sounding cool.
You can't.
Scott, stop sounding so cool. You sound so cool. I mean, that's a tough one.
I think the extent that he died he means like the extent to which the part of him died.
Yeah, I don't think it means literal, like physical death. I think he's basically like use it or lose it. If you don't use your faith, it's a journey, a long journey over very short lines in this verse. But I think the end he's saying if you don't use your faith, it's just going to shrivel up and die.
Yeah,
and you end up godless. Yep.
Jinx.
I mean, I can't talk.
No, you can talk.
You got to say my name.
Reid.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think overall that verse is like, it's very depressing.
Yeah, that's kind of a common theme with this album.
Yeah, it's like a depression spiral from being confused and uncertain about life, God, spirituality.
Right. Yeah. So the bridge is confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because I
want to talk about that.
When I Googled the lyrics, because that's the best way to find lyrics, it says that the lines are no more raging innocence. But when I listen to it, I feel like I hear other maybe like more taboo words that like aren't fun to repeat.
Well, we can say them. We're reviewing them for artistic purposes.
Yeah. So it says like no more raging innocence, and it feels like he's in the song. It really sounds like he's saying like no more raping innocence, which I feel like I would have a really different meaning. And
yeah. Fun fact about that.
Can it really be that fun?
Well, it is fun.
Okay.
So I Googled the lyrics, but then also looked on like different sites for it, and found mostly raging.
Okay.
But a good number of sites that think it's raping. So I tried to find the truth. I went to Sinner's Creed, Scott Stapp's memoir, and every single lyric to Unforgiven is conveniently printed in the book. Except for this one.
What?
It's like it doesn't exist in the song. Literally, the entire song is printed, but these lyrics are not in there.
So it just skips to the...
It skips straight from that in
godless
that second,
to the extent that I died to the final...
well, we have another the chorus.
Oh.
And then then it skips over to step inside the light and see.
That's so fucking weird.
I know.
That makes me think it's maybe not raging and maybe he didn't want to like repeat it or something.
So we can quickly talk about it in the context of both words. But I will say that, and I listened to this song probably 6 times on the drive over here. And
that's a lot.
Each time I hear that part, I hear whichever word I'm thinking. And in fact, I swore I heard raving on another part. But
that's like that robot thing on the internet.
Yeah, like you either hear the word yellow or elephant, depending on like which side of the screen you're looking at.
I haven't seen that one.
Like,
but something about like brainstorm. No, which one am I thinking of?
I know what you're talking
It's
about.
like a robot.
I mean, there's like 7 words, and if you like look down the list
Yeah.
and whichever one you're looking at, you hear it.
Yeah.
It's like creek bed, but you might be hearing like Mount Olympus.
Brain brew. Whatever, I'll think of it later.
Wow, did you just say rainbow?
I said brain brew.
Whoa, you did it, dude.
It's working.
No more brain brew innocence.
Well, like raging innocence makes me think, I have no idea actually. No more raging innocence.
I think he's raging. If you don't have something for that,
Yeah.
I think it's just like young and full of anger, and he knows it's time to grow up.
Oh, I like
It's
like that.
It's a raging innocence. Like it's a childhood and an upbringing that is like, it was intense, but it's
Right.
time to leave in the past.
Okay. Yeah. I get down with that. And if it was the other interpretation, I think it would mean like that he no longer can continue like defiling his innocent past by not being a faithful person or something.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, I think innocence is interpreted differently there, but like he's saying like the life he's living is like is desecrating the faith that is inside him.
Okay. If it is raping instead of raging, I guess I would interpret that like based in the context of the song to mean just like, I'm done. I don't know. That's hard.
I think in both contexts, though, it's sort of like he's done and he wants to change.
Yeah. But I guess raping is just, I mean, obviously it's a word that evokes stronger emotions in people.
Right.
Like to me, if you're saying no more raping innocence, you're meaning like, stop fucking up my life. Stop fucking up my childhood. Stop fucking up the innocent part of people. Mm-hmm. But if it's just no more raging innocence, then it just seems like it young and full of anger, time to grow up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that sums it up well.
If anybody knows
Scott,
Mark, other Scott,
just
anyone listening, if you know and have proof of which one it actually is, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I don't know what kind of proof you'd be, like his original notebook.
I don't know. Maybe there's some quote that I couldn't find from him in some like random interview, but like I dug. There's not a lot on this song.
Yeah.
If someone knows or has heard from one of the guys in the band themselves, let us know.
Hit us up.
Yep.
My own podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. We're also on Instagram.
Yeah. All the socials.
And TikTok. Step inside the light and see. The fear of God burn inside of me. The gold was put to flame, to kill, to burn, to mold its purity.
Okay, so the first part is easier. Step inside the light and see makes me think it's like a reference to Judgment Day. Like he's stepping before the light of God and being like, I'm gonna be judged. Tell me what you think. Give me a grade. And then the fear of God burn inside of me is I don't know. I think like once you're a religious person in any facet, like there's always that, they talk about like the fear of God being burned inside of you. Like, so even if you're not observant, I think there's still that part of you that like is like God fearing. That's like, oh shit, what if I'm not observant? Like, and God's going to smite me. So that's what I think that means. And the last part, the gold was put to flame, to kill, to burn, to mold its purity. I guess that's sort of saying that the fear of God that has been instilled him in his childhood and throughout his life will always be a force inside him that's continuing to mold him and shape him.
Okay. I dig that. I think that's good. I have a little bit different.
I like it.
Little different. In the context of like, again, because I grew up with Christianity,
Right.
religion.
You know more.
The light in like the Bible is always talked about as like the good thing. Like Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. Is a verse in the Bible.
Luke Skywalker wields the light side of the Force.
Exactly. I mean, at the very least, light in general terms is like good. And so you're talking about like light in the dark, things that are done in the dark, the truth always comes to light. There's all kinds of phrases where light is positive.
Lightsaber. Yeah, go on.
Lightsabers, yes. So I think the light in like religion, Christianity is used to represent like walking with God. So I think he's saying like, okay, we're on this journey of now we're seeing what it's like when he steps inside the light. Okay. And the fear of God is, if you describe someone as God-fearing, it really just means they believe in God. It's a little bit weird way to use the word, but in Christianity, if someone is he's a God-fearing person, it doesn't mean they're scared of God.
That's weird.
It means they believe in God. I know it's a fucked up way to put it. Because you should be scared of God.
But I'm not
you murdered the whole world one time.
I don't ask people like, hey, are you global warming fearing?
I know. Yeah. It's a weird, like, are you Santa fearing?
That's a better one. I wish I used that as my example.
Are you are you gravity fearing?
Shut up.
You idiot.
Okay, that makes sense though.
So, okay, if he's standing in the light, and that's where the fear of God is, it's good. So
Okay.
I think the songs are just saying like the fear of God burning inside of him is good. We also talk about like there's the classic, it's not a hymn, but it's like a song that we sang in church, that this little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine.
Oh, yeah,
let
dude.
it shine, let it shine.
Oh yeah. So I think like the light burning inside of him, in this case, I think is good. Then the gold is put to flame, to kill, to burn, to mold its purity.
Why do I know that song?
This little light of mine?
Yeah. It's probably in some
Probably
media.
your band covered it in college.
Oh yeah, the Republican farts.
Yeah, that's a really good band name.
we definitely spent a lot of time coming up with it and not right this second.
Yeah, you guys, they spent so much time coming up with the name, they didn't write any songs.
So
They said they just had to cover Christian
hymns.
jingles.
Yeah, and I was always the odd man out.
The part about gold, so gold doesn't burn. Okay, it does melt, but it does not actually burn.
It's not flammable.
Correct. So I think putting gold to a flame, and then in this context is talking about that sometimes we as people have to walk through a proverbial fire to remake or reshape ourselves. And that it's not easy. The process that isn't easy.
Blacksmithing.
Yes, blacksmithing. The song is about blacksmithing.
I knew it.
It's a respectable profession and an underappreciated profession. And I'm fucking sick of the lack of respect for blacksmiths everywhere.
Swords are really cool.
Yeah. So are
especially katanas.
daggers.
Yeah.
What else do blacksmiths make? Horseshoes.
They're not as cool, but they're there.
Metal rods.
How come more animals don't wear shoes? We'll get into it when we get back into Air Bud.
Yeah. Airbud
Wait, you did
wore
wear
shoes though.
sneakers. Yeah.
You wore athletic shoes.
Okay, go on.
I mean, that was it. I think just the gold put to flame, to kill, to burn, to mold its purity. To kill and to burn, I think, is to kill the old self.
You don't think it's about hell?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I think this is a positive verse. And I think he's saying sometimes you got to be broken down because he's saying to mold its purity. So once gold is liquefied, you can reshape it into anything you want. So you can remold it.
Like a katana.
Like a katana.
I don't think that would be that sturdy though.
Is a katana a sword?
A Japanese sword, yeah.
Okay.
Used by the
Dude,
samurai, or maybe it came after the samurai.
I don't.
I think it's one of those things that like the samurai didn't actually use katanas and they came later, but like media knows that samurais are badass and katanas are badass, so they just like, fuck it, they use katanas.
Why they're ruining
I could
history.
be wrong though. I could totally be wrong.
They're ruining history.
No, they probably use katanas, but probably just at a different point of time. I know they came later.
It's like some historians say that there were saddles for dinosaurs, but really it's just like, no, there was the Paleozoic era.
Yeah.
And then saddles came later, but they're both so badass that people put them in the same discussion, and it's irresponsible. And you know who would never do that? A blacksmith.
Or Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum playing a blacksmith.
I would watch that.
I'd love to see him in a show playing a blacksmith. Cool. So, yeah, like, I think the last verse to me, even though it's like fear, burn, flame, kill, burn, like, to me, it's a very hopeful verse of like, yeah, you're going to go through some shit once you know how to believe, like, as an adult. But you got to be broken down to get built back up. Oh, I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Who sings that again?
Chumbawamba.
That's what it is. I like that perspective, though, because I would have not thought that without talking through it with you.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Dude, I mean, I'm not like especially religious anymore.
Besides the giant tattoo you have on your chest.
Yeah. I've got my own face, but then dressed as Jesus. Yeah. And then on my back, in the same spot, I've got the back of my head, but it's the back of Jesus's head.
Yeah.
Which that was a dumb one to get.
Oh, it's like a 3D thing. It's cool.
I know, but like no one knows.
That's Jesus. Yeah.
I just have the back of someone's head on my back, and it's life size. It was really expensive. Took a long time to get. Anyway, then we repeat the "Think I'm Unforgiven" to this world again.
Right.
So, I mean, overall, like, to me, this song's a journey. And there's really, outside of the chorus and the "No More Raping Innocence," there's only 12 lines.
They feel
across 3 verses.
Yeah, they feel jam-packed, though.
They are.
Yeah.
Because I think when you unpack them, there's a lot of stuff that's being said there.
For sure.
Okay, as I mentioned, there's not a lot on this song.
Right.
But I want to read you a couple of quotes from Scott about the song.
Ooh, so you did find some juicy bits.
I did find some, just not much.
Okay.
The song that most clearly depicts my internal battles during that time is Unforgiven, where I talk about losing sight of, quote, the irony of twisted faith, end quote. Instead of my own prison, the first album could have been called Twisted Faith, because so many of the themes revolve around my struggle between the false faith of my childhood and my new journey towards true faith.
Okay, he talks about that so much in that book.
So I think we're getting what he means by twisted faith there.
Yeah, you kept that from me.
Well,
you knew.
I didn't give it to myself because that wasn't my first real assessment of the lyrics. But that's how Scott explains it.
Interesting.
Any thoughts on?
Well, yeah, I guess the twisted faith to me now means like the intertwining of like what he thought was faith before and his new journey toward faith.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the irony of it.
It could be the irony of just like having truth and lies intertwined and them being the same to you for a while till you figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. And then in the book, he also singled out the final lyrics we went through about the step inside the light and see, the fear of God burn inside of me, the gold was put to flame, to kill, to burn, to mold its purity. He didn't really say why he singled them out, but he very purposefully singled them out. It's like a little standalone section of the book. But I think it's because it ties the first two together. It is that positive.
Based on what you said, that kind of makes sense because it seems to be representative of that new journey.
So then I guess there is a quote. This quote, I guess, is probably tied to this. Here's the last quote. I was still afraid that God would judge me for being impure and imperfect, but I also saw that the struggles I'd experienced in my young life now had a purpose. They helped me realize that I could survive adversity with hope and purpose.
Nice.
So to me, that makes, actually, that does make sense against those lyrics.
I think it makes the song feel even more optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's saying him surviving adversity and being broken down and remolded to a better, more pure person. It's like hope and purpose are pure things to possess.
Yeah.
So that's what a happy ending.
Finally.
Yeah,
last one was like miserable.
I'm gonna give myself a happy ending tonight.
I don't need to know that.
Okay. I meant I just like sing a song before I go to bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
That's
then I crank one out.
Okay.
Hardcore.
I didn't. That was
Hardcore, baby.
All right, sicko. Now you can finally get to your yes without fear of giving away your yes.
I'm not gonna give it away.
Okay.
Would you like to score it first? Since you were hitting lead off this one?
Yeah. I think as we touched on earlier, I do feel the song is like a little forgettable. And that I think the chorus isn't particularly hooky or catchy in the way that I love certain Creed songs to be. Although the guitar is like, this is a really stompy song. Like I just imagine like fucking like stomping across the stage like this.
Like what? Okay. He's moving his arms like he's doing a half robot and half like military march.
That's how you stomp.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very like, this would be like a big mosh song, I feel like. But it just doesn't stick with me. I think I'm going to have to give it 2.25 yes out of 5.
Okay.
So like toward the bottom, but like not bad.
Okay.
A little below average.
You landed pretty close to where I did. And I will admit, I actually gave it a slight bump after I'd read the little that I could find about it. Because I was like, oh, it actually like became clear and kind of reinforced what I thought the last verse meant. Because, dude, honestly, like, I've heard this song a ton of times. I'd never really even paid attention to anything but the chorus, to be honest.
I think it's hard to pay attention to the chorus too, because there's sort of that like effect that's heavy on the lyrics, like the before the chorus. Like I feel like it's like that on top of his voice. So like I think that makes me kind of like tune out the words a little more.
Yeah, there's some like echoey in there.
Yeah. Like that.
So I'm gonna give this. I don't know that to me it's the most forgettable album or the most forgettable song on the album. Yeah, fuck you, bro.
Stop.
Flex on you, dog. I'm gonna give it a 2.75. 2.75 yes.
Okay.
So a 2.75 yes from me, 2.25 yes from Andrew.
Yep.
And yeah, not our favorite.
That's Unforgiven, people.
We did it. It was number 7.
Good fact.
Number 7 on the album.
Yep. There's only a couple more left, man.
I know.
Isn't that wild?
I know. Is there 10 songs on this album?
I think so, and one bonus track that we'll get to. Fun stuff.
I can't wait.
Me too, man.
Are you ready to go downstairs and watch some Air Bud?
Oh, turn it on.
We're gonna stay up all night.
If anybody knows the streaming service that it's on, please DM me.
If anybody has Adderall that we could crush up and snort together to watch Air Bud.
You can't broadcast that to the world.
I can't?
Yeah, please don't do that.
Okay.
Don't. Okay.
I was kidding.
Still.
I was just kidding.
Well, Reid,
hit me up though.
Any final thoughts?
I hope you have a great trip to Philadelphia.
Thanks, man.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th to you. Anyway, Reid, I think it's time we make our escape.
Let's go there.
For my own podcast, I'm Andrew Colin.
I'm Reid Fenlaw.
Bye. No more dogs.